supermen.
Then felt I like some watcher of the skies when a new planet swims into his kin. Does that mean anything to you?
Yeah, I think so. Um, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the song "Watcher of the Skies," um,
Yep.
which is the lead song off the album Foxtrot. So we're actually, making a little jump here into really, this album in in my mind kind of sets the all the pieces are here, right? We've got the core kind of five guys within Genesis, and they've got some work under their belts. They've been out gigging, and then we get this album, and wow, there's a lot going on here, and it starts, right out of the gates with "Watcher of the Skies." Now, I think the intent from Keats is that the poem. I think Mr. Keats' intent is to put this, this quote in the perspective of a human who's looking up at the stars, right?
Yep.
They are the watcher of the skies. I think, lyrically, this one takes a little bit of a turn, a kind of a common twist among Tony Banks, and I think when you throw Peter Gabriel into the mix, but this one actually plays that almost exactly the opposite. It's a watcher, yes, it's very similar, somebody who's observing, but instead of being a human, this person is of the skies, meaning they've come from the skies, right? So the intent that they're throwing at you here is more of a, you know, a an outside observer taking a look at, in this case, Earth, right? And an Earth devoid of people.
That's right, an empty earth. So Banks and Rutherford, really worked up these lyrics and the concept of the song during a sound check for a gig in Naples. They were looking over just this deserted landscape of an airfield and just couldn't believe why it was so empty. And like, several other Genesis songs through the years, they envisioned kind of a alien life form, uh, and what it must be like for them coming and observing the Earth, and finding that the human race had moved on. And you'll hear in the lyrics the alien kind of questioning, have they moved on? Have they gone somewhere else? Or have they just wrecked society in general? So, not a very lyrically dense song, but a lot of emotion and storytelling packed into the lyrics here.
Yeah, I think it's a theme that Peter Gabriel in particular hits on a lot. But as I was just kind of reading through the lyrics, prepping for this, the vibe I got is almost a Games Without Frontiers kind of vibe, right? Talking about sort of the well, one comparing war to a game. I think they do that quite a bit in this song. But beyond that, just the idea that you can't. It's hard to make sense of these things,
Yeah.
and the idea that though I think the line he says, "Has life again destroyed life?" Um,
Hmm.
One would have to assume from this watcher's perspective, he's seen this before, right? Or
Right.
the watcher has seen this before, and so how unique is humanity in the sense that we fight each other to the death, and destroy our home in the process. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. And they position the, I guess, the other being as being a little bit more all knowing, and all encompassing. And it actually reminds me. I like your Games Without Frontiers reference. I'll throw one from Abacab at you, which is Keep It Dark, where the main character has to lie about being abducted by criminals, but is really abducted by aliens and taken to a world that shows a glimmer of hope and millions of beings living happily. And here we see some parallels with an alien being who is wondering what the heck happened on Earth. Um, and in some ways, too, these lyrics were influenced by author Arthur C. Clarke's 1953 science fiction novel Childhood's End. That stands out to me because I love uh, from Obscured by Clouds, Childhood's End by Pink Floyd. I can't tell you that I know a whole lot about Arthur C. Clarke's 1953 science fiction novel, but I'm guessing that you might know something about it. And I'll put you on the spot and see if you see any parallels there.
I think really the kind of the core of it is again just the conflict that's occurring in the story, right?
Hmm.
And the Watcher is represented here as well because in effect you have in the story you have a alien life form that comes to Earth, an alien intelligence, we'll call it that, and effectively announces that they're going to take over after observing international relations, particularly between the United States and the Soviet Union. Um, they have decided that there is a better way, and they're the ones who hold the key, right? So in essence, these overlords take over administrative control of the world, and in the process, they start very gently, right? But over the course of about 2 or 3 generations, the entire world changes, and things become so distant from kind of where they were when humans were in charge that in effect the world is no longer the same place, um, and to the detriment of humanity, I believe is what Clark is trying to get at here. So it's sort of it's almost like I don't know, maybe a bed check, right? You get these aliens are coming down and saying you guys are being naughty. So get it together, and in the process, they effectively destroy what makes humans humans. Um, that's what I got from
Well,
it.
I was right that you would know how to tie all that together. So, really good job. This is really good. Um, all right, now let's just talk about this song and its importance to the timeline of Genesis. So, Genesis had been looking for a replacement to the knife on their live shows. Like, they wanted something that could show their progress, and they wanted really to replace the knife in their set. And if you haven't checked out our podcast on the knife, you should go back and do that. We go really deep on the influence of that song. And this is several years later, and they're evolving as musicians. And the other key thing that has started to happen towards the end of touring the nursery crime songs, of which we've analyzed, almost that entire album on this podcast, is that Gabriel started to wear the outfits, the costumes. He started to take the live show a little bit more theatrical. And the cover of this album, Foxtrot actually, represents the character that he played at the very beginning of him wearing costumes on stage with the fox's head and the red dress. Like, that character makes an appearance on the cover of Foxtrot's album art. The show would start to Gabriel in a full cape, neon face makeup, and a bat wing uh, fixture on his head. Uh, and they would kick into what is easily described as one of the most iconic Mellotron intros in all of prog rock.
Yeah, I mean, this is, it's a complex song, and what I find particularly humorous is is Tony Banks' explanation of where the Mellotron intro for this really kind of came from, right? Now we've talked quite a bit, I think, about this instrument, as we were covering the last album because it's featured rather prominently there. But then it completely opens this album, right? And what the instrument itself, the instrument in question, is a Mellotron Mark II. It's electromechanical in nature. So,
Okay.
you might have a synthesizer that uses oscillators to generate sound. The Mellotron actually uses reels of tape, magnetic tape that you would record sound on. And these little kind of strips of tape get played under a playhead when you press the key on the Mellotron. So if you want to play a C, you'll hit the C, and a little reel of tape is going to get played that plays whatever that note is. In the case of this, we hear the orchestral setting. And what it is it's actually an orchestra, a string orchestra, playing these notes, and they've been recorded on tape, and then they are actuated by the keyboard on the Mellotron. Now, the issue here is that tape speed affects the pitch. So if you play the tape a little bit faster, the pitch goes up. You play it a little slow, the pitch goes down. So the Mellotron, particularly the Mark II Mellotron, is apparently infamous for not wanting to play in tune very well, right? I think Steve Hackett actually says, this is an instrument that Genesis acquired from King Crimson, and King Crimson had unloaded this particular instrument because it was prone to break down, right? So much so that the instrument has a name. They called it the Black Bitch. it just it, and in essence, it sounds like it was a battle. But Tony Banks says that there were two chords on that instrument that just sounded amazing, right? They are in the B major 7, right, and the C sharp. And those happen to be the two chords we hear at the beginning of this song. He's literally just jumping back and forth between the two chords that, in his mind, actually sounded best. Now, for what it's worth, and here's a little education opportunity, it's a B major 7 in an inversion, right, where we have the F sharp in the root. Same thing with the C sharp. It's an inversion with F sharp of that C sharp triad in the root. And so what winds up happening is that he's just basically holding that bass note of F sharp and moving between the B major 7 and the C sharp. And it creates this glorious sound, right? But that's really it. He's just saying, I'm playing. It's not theoretically driven or anything like that. These are just the two best sounding chords on the instrument, and so let's build a song around that, right?
Talk to me about the time signatures in this song because I think there's some interesting things going on, and my brain doesn't really pick up on the sophistication of different time signatures that Genesis weaves in and out. I just know that they're weaving something in and out and that it's unique and different, and it just satisfies me a great deal. But I think various time signatures are something that we're going to hear on this Foxtrot album pretty consistently through the tracks.
Yeah, that's what a great question, Jarrett, because I think that's probably the other significant feature of this song is kind of the establishment of 6/4 time as kind of a staple for Genesis. So what that is basically you have when you have 4/4 time, you have a quarter note that represents one beat, and there's 4 beats in a measure, right? So you get your normal 1, 2, 3, 4. 2/4 time would have 2 beats in a measure, and the quarter note again would get the beat. So you'd have 1, 2, 1, 2. In 6/4 time, you have 6 beats, and the quarter note gets a beat. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this song does switch back and forth. In particular, the staccato riffs that get played in there switch into 8/4 time, which is very, very, very akin to your standard 4/4 time, but it's the feel, right? The kind of the feel of a measure is 8 beats as opposed to the 4. So that's kind of what generates that 8/4. But what that means is that we have a combination of compound time and simple, or compound meter and simple meter here, right? Which is today, when you think about prog rock, that's like prog rock is all about polyrhythm and multi-metered songs, and
Hmm.
going from 7/8 to 11/16 to all of these various things. Um, but for Genesis, this was, I think, more about the sound, and um, this to me is really where Phil Collins shines. And if you listen to the play between Mike Rutherford on bass and Phil Collins on the drums, and throughout this song, it's pretty incredible. What you really what stands out to me, Jarrett, is that this is a group of guys who've been playing together now for a while, and it shows. Right, they're vibing on each other. They are much more free in terms of playing off each other than even the examples we see in the previous album. And we're not talking years, right? I mean, this album was recorded in 1972 while the band was out touring and working through the nursery crime stuff. So
Yeah.
I think what shows here is this is a working band that has been working. Um, yeah, it stands out in this song. So why don't we hear it?
We talked a bit last time about Tony Banks' aversion to normal resolution in chord progressions. Clearly at work here.
This is a good one to blast on Halloween as well. It's got some Phantom of the Opera vibes to it.
Definitely. Those big schmaltzy music hall chords.
Use that unbelievable rhythm section here.
I love how tight the rhythm section is here. You hear the 6/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Watcher of the skies, watcher of all. Is the world alone? No world is his own. He whom life can no longer surprise, raising his eyes, behold a planet unknown.
So when Genesis was inducted in the Hall of Fame, Fish actually played this song at the induction ceremony. In 2010.
This planet soil. Now the rain has come to life again, destroyed life. Do they play elsewhere? Do they know more than their childhood
So a lot of confusion there from our watchers.
Maybe the lizard shed tail. This is the end of man's long universe.
Is Hackett finding his spot in the song?
Judge not this race by empty remains. Do you judge God by creatures when they're dead? For now the lizard shedded his tail. This is the end of man's long union with earth.
These transitions are just killer.
From life alone to life as one. Think not now your journey's done. Even though your ship be sturdy, no mercy has the sea. Will you survive on the ocean of being?
Love that line.
Come ancient children, you want to say, this is my parting counsel for you anyway. Sadly now your thoughts turn to the stars. Where we have gone, you know you never can go. Watcher of the skies, watcher of all. This is your fate alone, this fate is your own.
I love this almost like a conversation. It's got a little Morse code vibe to it. Yeah. This is why this replaced the night. In the stage show, a lot of theatrics at this moment. Gabriel is raising his cape for all to see. There you go. That's Watcher of the Skies.
Yeah, that's a piece of music right there. Quite a statement to
Yeah, but-
open this new album.
About 7 minutes of just prog insanity. If you ask me.
Yeah, it's. I mean, there's quite a lot there, and a lot to unpack. And I mean, what a great song, just to kind of get things moving along. What also kind of, and just as as we were listening back there, another thing that kind of jumps out to me is the production quality, of this track. And I know we're I think probably listening to the 2007 remaster or something along those lines,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but I think that there is a noteworthy. I mean, Genesis is on charisma at this point. And this is a self-produced album largely. They have this guy Dave Hitchcock, who is listed as the producer on this album. But if you go and you look at the work of Dave Hitchcock, you'll find he was basically a studio producer, right? He was assigned by the studio, so he worked on a number of albums for Charisma and maybe Island or somebody before this, but Caravan, I think. But long story short, I don't think that there's a ton of Dave Hitchcock in this. Maybe I'm wrong. If you're out there, hit us up. We'd love to hear from you. But
yeah, he's listening. I'm certain of it. He's
certain of it. But I think this is, again, just Genesis maturing in kind of all aspects of this, and that would include record production. This is just a cleaner sounding recording. And again, I think that just speaks to maturity.
For me, it signals them really thinking about how the stage show is going to come to life. So much so that, Watcher of the Skies was part of their live set really all the way through the 70s. Again, just the importance of it, as the opening song. And it became such an iconic opening song that, when they released Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, the stage show for Lamb would start with Gabriel in his Watcher of the Skies outfit as a silhouette on stage, making the audience think that they were getting ready to enjoy Watcher of the Skies, and he starts to tell the story of Rail. So that just shows the impact that this stage performance had on the audiences across the years. And in a lot of ways, there's some parallels to the other concept albums that were happening at the time, like The Wall, where, you'd show up to a show to watch your favorite band, and all of a sudden they're playing this new music, and the very beginning of the show talks about how you're seeing something that you weren't expecting to see. And I just think it's a brilliant part of music history, and Watcher of the Skies kind of does all that for me.
Yeah, it's a solid start, right? Heck of a way to kick off an album.
Yeah, well, we'll keep going on the Foxtrot album here over the next few weeks. And we love your feedback. So if you heard anything on this podcast that you want to comment on or correct us on, please let us know. We're on this journey with all of you, so just kind of feel free to participate in it as we go through the next steps. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Jake, thanks for your insights. I found them fascinating as always. And until next time on Mild Mannered Supermen, we'll see you around.
Always a pleasure, my brother.
Mild Mannered Supermen, Mild Mannered Supermen, Mild Mannered Supermen.